Here we go. So, I'm going to try and explain how this system works for you. For this front end. Oh, hang on, I need a wheel. It might help. Even easier for you to visualise if there's a wheel in there. Oh, bloody hell. Why are these wheels so heavy? Hang on a minute. Right, just get this wheel in. Now I'm going to have to ask you to visualise a couple of bits, but I am going to explain while I'm at it. Now, get that wheel in there. Should be about it. Right, now, listen carefully. I shall say this only once. Right, now, these two dirty great galvanised steel things, these old rock sliders, are going to be effectively my fork legs. Now, everybody's seen fork legs on the front of a motorbike. They stick out at the front and hold your wheel. Basically, these are those. They're attached to your top and bottom yokes, otherwise known in America and Australia as a triple tree. They clamp into those. The yokes I'm making for this, as I say, will be made out of some very, very thick steel. But you don't need to worry yourself about that, because that doesn't affect this. So there you go, from the front. Okay, they're not even lined up straight, but it doesn't matter. You get the idea. I'll take that piece of wood out of the way. You can imagine that they're your forks coming down. Obviously they're not going to be that long, but as, this is just for demonstration purposes. Right, now the forks are attached, as I say, to your fork yokes or your triple tree, whatever you like, and then they come down where they won't be touching the ground, obviously. And I'll try and add a picture to this as well of a completed one that some other people have done. Right, now, at the bottom of the fork leg, I will, let me just take this shock absorber out of the way a moment. I will be cutting out a big notch in the front and the back so that this can be slid in between the two and stick out the back. Let's move it round. So effectively, it'll be in that sort of position roughly, but obviously it'll be inside of this because this will be cut out so this can slide into it. Then that will allow the whole thing to pivot within that. So basically this is a supporting arm that's going to be going to the hub and everything else. Now, this is going to be bolted through either side of it. There'll be a hole either side, so a bolt can go right through the middle of here, which will have a bush in it. Big rubber bush like it used to have. The bolt will go straight through here, and out here, and bolt up. So this can then pivot happily at the bottom of this fork leg. Right, now to add some suspension to it, because what it's going to have is a rubber in there, it needs a proper shock absorber, not this one. But effectively, let me just put this back here a minute. it has a shock absorber that attaches just behind the middle of the wheel and goes up onto the fork leg and attaches up there, so that when this moves up and down with road bounces and whatever, it's sending all that shock and everything straight through the shock absorber, like you would on a normal vehicle, or like with a standard bike shock where you've got a hydraulic system that just bounces up and down. This is that shock absorber. Obviously not that one, the ones I showed you in the last video with the springs on the outside of them as well, because they can take a lot more weight. So effectively that's how that system works. I don't know whether this is going to be clear enough. It's obviously clear to me because I know what I'm doing with this ish. But I do realise that it's very confusing for other people, because you're not me and you don't know what I know about this. And you've probably never seen a leading link fork set up in your life. So yeah, that's basically how it works. Further to that, on this side is where I'm going to be attaching the hub, who are attached to this leg. Obviously this will be up in the air in the middle here, and I am going to, as I say, have a rod connecting between that arm over there and that arm over there. One that will go straight through the middle of the hub and everything else, and bolt into both sides to tie these arms together so everything moves a bit better, and so that all the bounces and everything, the shocks are shared between the two sides properly. And again, there will also be, in these back rings here, I'm going to connect another rod from that to the one over there again, so they're tied together. They'll be tied together in the middle of the axle, and they'll be tied together at the back there, again to try and make sure everything moves as one unit, so that when this thing bounces up and down on the road, everything moves together and you get a nice even amount of damping either side from these shock absorbers. Now I'm going to stick this up, and you can tell me that you still don't understand, and I'll have to work something else out. But no, I do understand completely how people just can't understand quite what's going on, but I'm hoping that doing it like that will make it a little bit more obvious. Right, well, let me know, and if I've still not made it clear enough, then I'll have to do something with diagrams and things. See you later.